Hey, what's up? It's Rashad, OG friend of him, Antonio. Upon further review podcast, of course, we are reviewing The Last of Us. Dropped last night, in case you forgot. So if you didn't see it, they dropped Friday because Super Bowl is tomorrow. Come back and watch this. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be spoiled. But if you did see it, stay with us. Of course, follow us on all the things at 20 Franchise, at Hang with the Joneses, IG, TikTok, and the whatnot. I just want to say this off the top.
Here we go.
Okay. I knew how this was going to end. I knew how this was going to end, but I did not want it to end like it did. I mean, when Tony, this show is creating very intricate ways to get us to buy into characters, get us to have fondness and love for characters, just for them to rip them away from us ever so savagely. And Tony, like I was at my computer in the back watching this on HBO Max in tears by the end of this episode. I was I was done, yo. Like I had to watch something light and stupid before I went to sleep because I was like, I need a palate cleanser. This episode wrecked me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. God, this was another emotional episode, just like episode 3 was, but this one was super emotional because it involved children, and also the most terrifying episode as well.
All right, let's recap this jump, man. All right, you just saw it. You go ahead and start the recap.
All right. So the show starts where it's basically we find out eventually that it's like we see they're in Kansas City. They're in Kansas City, and that's where what happened last episode where Ellie and Joel, got ambushed and they're hiding, and we saw how episode last week ended with, Ellie being held at gunpoint by the two black kids or whatever. We didn't know what was going on. So we find out that basically 10 days prior, that's when the people of the QZ in Kansas City led their uprising. They was like, Fedra is some BS, and they took it over. And I mean, it was very reminiscent of a lot of the protests that were going on during the cop killing, the police killing black men that we had going on. You heard them saying F Fedra, and I mean, well, they weren't saying F, they were saying the full blown word.
Like it felt and they it felt very much like, kill all masters, like for real. Like this just wasn't it just wasn't a Killer Mike reference. Nah, they was like Black bury the masters. Shout out Solange. You know what I'm saying? Like it was
right.
Yo.
And they was driving through the street in the Fedra vehicles, like, hey, you're out there hiding, like, come on out, you will get a fair trial, and we will make a decision off of that or whatever.
Here's the visual for me. The visual for me was it was if what's the name of that movie? If what's the third Christopher Nolan Batman movie?
Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Rises. I don't know why I forgot that.
Yeah.
That was like if Dark Knight Rises was on steroids. That's what Gotham City would have looked like, yo. I mean, it was sheer anarchy, kangaroo court, like the whole nine, yo. I was like,
I'm gonna get to the line that she said in a few minutes.
It was like legit just beating folk down, shooting folks in the head. They were hanging folks. A dude got beheaded. I was like,
they had my man. They talk about some turn yourselves in. We'll give you a fair trial, and they was dragging behind a dead corpse of like a Fedra with like 20 or 30 knives stuck in it, just dead. I said, yo, these folk have lost it. And this is the type of stuff that could possibly happen if something like that, complete anarchy that just went on. So we see the two black kids that we saw in the episode, and at this time we still didn't know which character was which because you didn't hear anybody say a name yet. And we figured one of them was Henry, but we was just trying to figure out which one was Henry. And you see that like they're like trying to get away, and then they get to a spot where there's this old man, and he's like, "Hey, come on here. They will not find you here, or whatever." And we realize
that was the doctor from last episode.
That was the doctor from the last episode. Yeah, it was. It was a doctor from the last episode, and he was like, "Hey, get here. They won't find you. Trust me." They won't find you. We got some food here. I'm gonna leave, try to get some more food, and come on back here. We realize that Henry is the older black kid, and Sam is his little brother, and Sam is deaf, and they're signing to each other how to get through. So they're hiding, and I guess a couple of days pass, and they're looking, and they're seeing that things have died down, but it's still kind of crazy out there. And Sam is like, he's saying he's trying to get his brother's attention. He's like, "Yo, I'm hungry, man. Let's." And he was like, "Hey, man, we ain't got no more food." And he was like, "Well, is he going to come back?" And he was like, "Yeah, he'll be back by the night. You know what I'm saying? Just give him a chance." And then later that next morning came, he was like, "Yeah, he ain't coming back.
He ain't coming back.
He ain't coming back." And then he was like, "Is he dead?" And he was like, "Most likely he is." You know what I'm saying? He is dead. They're like, "We got to get out of here. We got to try to find some food." And we got to get out of here. And then like at that moment of them like getting their stuff together, they hear what happened in the last episode.
Yeah.
So we're caught up to that point where you see Ellie and Joel, saying they're getting ambushed. They drive the car and it crashed, and they're having a shootout, and they kill the guys, and he sees all this going on the whole time. And Henry kind of puts two and two together, thinking, yeah, this guy's probably trying to get the hell out of here, and he's going to do what I would do, which is look for the highest point, the highest building in here, and try to find the quickest way to get out. So then that's when you see, when we pick up where the episode ended, where they're holding Ellie and Joel at gunpoint, and they're talking, trying to figure out, like, hey, how, so like, hey, dude, can I trust y'all? Look, I know who y'all are. Y'all are decent people. Are y'all okay? And Joe's like, yes. He was like, no, you don't sound convincing, man. Because Joe, like, you don't sound convincing, bro. Like, this?
He's like, that's a very unconvincing tone.
It's a very unconvincing tone. And then Ellie's like, hey, she was like, no, he's good. He's just an asshole. That's just how he is. He's an asshole.
He has an asshole voice.
His asshole voice. Said, Joe, tell him everything is fine. Everything is fine. Joe, he's like, no, man, they don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, his tone is really scary.
Everything is great.
Everything is great. And so finally, like, he's like, look, I'm gonna trust y'all, be cool. And then so Sam, the deaf kid, is like, yo, what are y'all saying? He was like, we're gonna try to trust these. He was like, do you think that's a good idea? Sam is like, that ain't a good idea. He's signing, that ain't a good idea to do that. And he's like, it's cool. And they basically have some food and they talk. And he's not even holding really at gunpoint anymore. He was just like, I'm gonna help y'all and y'all can help me. I know what y'all trying to do. Y'all trying to get out of here. And then he was like, all right, can we leave now? He was like, no, y'all gonna help us get out of here as well. And he basically was like, I know why y'all came to this building. Y'all want to get an outline of the land to see how exactly can we get out of, get out of the city. And they take them a map and it's like, look, this is how it is. Highway. The city was like basically surrounded by 4 highways. Yeah. And he's like, there's like guards at each highway. You try to go any way you go, wow, they're gonna kill you, they're gonna snipe you. And he was like, so we got to find a way to get out of here. He was like, how do we get out? He said, go under. And he's like, oh, there's a subway system in Kansas City? He said, no, it's not a subway system, it's utility tunnels. And he was like, okay, utility tunnels. He was like, yeah, gonna go to utility tunnels. He said, well, the smartest thing, he says, nothing. He says, if it's that easy, why do you need us? Because it might be some things down there that might need. So he was like, what do you mean thing? He said, well, the best thing Fedra did when they came here is everybody that was infected, they basically herded them into those tunnels and kept them into the tunnels. And we saw that in the last episode where the ground kind of popped up in that room, was shaking in that room or whatever. And was it Kathleen Colleen or whatever?
Kathleen. Yeah.
Kathleen was like, oh, that's not important. We need to get Henry. And the dude was like, what? okay, cool.
Yeah.
So he was like, well, what do you mean? He says, man, that happened 20 years ago, man. It's not that big. He says, I'm pretty sure it's clear down there. I'm pretty sure. He says, well, one guy went down there and he says he didn't see nothing. He said it might be one or two stragglers still around. Other than that, it's cool, whatever. And he was like, nah, this ain't it. And Sam is like hitting the table, like, hey, what are y'all talking about? He was like, and so basically Henry backed him into a corner. These nice people are going to help us get out of here. Ain't that right? And he was just like, all right, bet. We're going to get out. We're going to get out of here. So in the meantime, Kathleen is trying to find Henry. And remember last episode, we was just like, what the hell did Henry do in order for her to get Kathleen? So we find out that Henry is the reason that Kathleen's brother got killed, gets killed. And so during all this anarchy stuff, Kathleen becomes the leader of this anarchist group. And they basically
like real quick, just want to get some context about Kansas City. Kansas City QZ is a equivalent of Rikers Island. Like they are out here the worst QZ in America. So word of mouth travel, like, yo, like Boston may suck, but like Kansas City, woo, they raping and maiming out there, boy.
Yeah, they just snatching folk up, raping women, killing, probably raping men too,
hanging folks. You know what I'm saying? Like they was really ruthless in Kansas City. So eventually he's like, yo, we about to overthrow this, and that's what they did. You know what I'm saying? And even then, like even the term collaborator was kind of defined, because people would collaborate with the QZ to get stuff, which leads us to Henry and Sam.
Yeah, so Henry and Sam basically collaborated with them. And when he even said that, it was like, well, why is Kathleen after you? He was like, I was a collaborator. And you saw like Joel's face. He was like, man, I don't deal with no rats, And I was like, oh, he was like a snitch type, saying a snitch rat type dude. So he was like, man, you don't know me type, type thing. So back to Kathleen. Kathleen has basically all these people, like they've killed basically all of the guards and all that stuff like that, but they are keeping the cooperators as prisoners. And she says in there one of the coldest lines I've ever heard in like a show or movie, period. She goes in there and she's like, pulls a chair up, and you see these people like shook because they like know, like, hey man, we about to die. And she's like, look here, look, I'm just looking for Henry. Can somebody tell me where Henry is? Nobody says nothing. She was like, look, all of you guys are here because of what you've done. You're collaborators. You know what you've done. She's like, you are all going to get a fair trial. You're already guilty, but you're going to, I said, what? She's like, you're already guilty, but you're going to get a trial. And, we'll see from there. It depends what happens, whether or not you be a prisoner or we kill you. And I was just like, they're going to get a trial, but she was like, you're already guilty. And y'all know y'all already guilty. I said, yo, this chick is wild. And so when like nobody wanted to give up Henry, she was like, okay, it's really no use for you guys. Go ahead and kill him. And one guy, there's always one dude. Wait a minute. Wait. He was trying to get out. He was trying to go here. And he was like, do you know where? Yeah, possibly this. He tried to get out. He was like, okay. Thank you. Walks out.
Yeah. He's holed up in the city somewhere in mid city. You know what I'm saying?
It's like, so he's still here.
He's still here.
Cool. And so, like, she goes out and talks to her number two in command, and they're like this and that. And he's like, look, man, we really got to put all this into just find it. And she's like, yes. And like I said, she is hell bent on getting her revenge because her brother was killed because of Henry. Yeah. So then after she says that, she basically looks at the rest of the team and is like, yeah, y'all can go in there and kill him. Just like that. Just go in there and kill him. And they go in there and they basically kill all the collaborators. So then you see Joel and them going down into the tunnels. And you're like, oh man. And like the tension was just built the whole time.
So tense.
And like, Henry is like a teenager. I'm gonna say he's about 17, 16, between 16, 18 or something years old. He's being a dumb teenager. He's like, I told you it's clear down here. Shut up. He's like, shut up. Don't make any sound. He says, if you hear or see anything, run. And then also, too, we realized that everyone has a name for these. So these aren't just names that come up for the items. It was like, yeah, we killed the clicker. He was like, yeah, we killed the ones that can't see. He was like, oh man, you killed the clicker? Well, shoot, y'all the right people to take us down here into the tunnel. So
Yeah.
they walk in and everything seems to be pretty cool with the lights and stuff. And then they come to a door, and it's like, it looks like a mural is made, and it looks almost like it's going into like a kindergarten classroom. They got
Yeah.
castles and stuff like that. And you saw Sam is like excited, and he's running to the door. Joe's like, whoa, hold on there, brother, hold up. And in the meantime, while that's going on, you see that Ellie and Sam have built a bond, because this is like the first time they both have really become, we've seen that they are able to be kids.
Yeah,
Or whatever, and they
ain't
smile.
no other kids around here because even when they was at like the ballroom in that old building, they was like
Mm-hmm.
looking at the pun book. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was reading
Mm-hmm.
that, you know. So it
Yeah.
was
So
also, before you forget, like the whole reason why Henry was a collaborator, because his little brother had leukemia and he was trying to get medicine. And it was like,
yeah.
yo, you want something big, you gotta give up something big.
Yeah.
And Kathleen's brother was like the leader of the of the insurgents,
Yeah.
there, of the resistance fighters, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call them
I
in,
think
in
his name was
Kansas.
Brian, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken. It's Brian
his
or
name
something
doesn't
like that.
matter. So
Don't
like,
matter.
yeah,
He was
yeah,
dead.
yeah. He gave him up, and of course you see, your boy got better. So yeah.
Yeah. So he got brother. So they go into that room and they see that basically it's like almost like a school, and it's like a little colony. And Joel was like, yo, I heard about this. I've heard about um people going underground and having little colonies, pocket colonies in like underground and under tunnels and stuff like that, trying to get away when the outbreak first happened.
Yeah.
And Henry was like, what do you think happened to him? He was like, yeah, somebody was probably infected. That's what saying that's what happened to him. And so it looks just like a elementary school
It
classroom.
does. It looks
And
very much like a daycare type setup. You know what I'm saying? Books, and
mm-hmm.
it's all colorful. Like kids were obviously there, which makes it more sad.
Yeah, kids was there, and so they were having a good time there. And like Ellie suggested, hey, we've been walking, let's just kind of saying, can we just chill here for a second? And Henry's like, yeah, it'd be better if we leave at night, so it'd be night almost soon. And so that's when Henry explains to Joel exactly why he did what he did. And Joel understood. He said, you probably did it for your brother. He says, I don't have no right to judge you. Hell, I probably would did the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you did, it would have did the same thing for my daughter or whatever. I also loved how earlier on he was like, yeah, so your daughter, they both was like, that's my dad, it's not my daughter. They're like, no, it's not my dad, it's not my daughter type thing.
And and
So they
and,
finally
and even
go
the
ahead.
fact, like when it was talking, he said, I know that, basically saying like, look, like I know you had a child before. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know that's not your child,
Mm-hmm.
but I know you had a child before.
Mm-hmm.
And which kind of harkens back to the whole why he feels like why he didn't want to feel. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But now he's actually having forming a bond with Ellie, which is
Mm-hmm.
which is that whole lone wolf and cub type storyline that this is playing
Mm-hmm.
out.
Yeah. So they finally start moving again, and and so it goes back to what the Kathleen and her second. They're like, yo, we cannot find this dude nowhere. And she's like, it's okay, he's gonna pop up, he's gonna show up or whatever. So they finally get out the tunnels safe. I was surprised at that they got out the tunnel safe.
Very surprised.
I was very surprised they got out the tunnel safe. They got on the other side of the city, past the
Yeah.
guards and stuff, where there's a neighborhood. They said when you go to the neighborhood, and then once you cross that the neighborhood and you cross the embankment, there's a bridge, and you know what I'm saying, you safe, pretty much safe from that point forward. So they're walking in the neighborhood, and Joel is like, hey, tell them no lights. And they're like, why we gotta do the lights? And they're trying to understand, saying kids always trying to, buck authority. Why we gotta use lights? No one is here. And the next thing you know, somebody starts sniping and shooting, and they got a duck. They got a duck, get behind cars, and they're like, oh man, how we gonna get out of here? And Joel is like, look, it's nighttime. This person can't shoot for nothing. I'm going to try. Y'all stay here. I'm going to sneak around, get up in there, and I'm gonna kill this. I'm gonna kill this man, and we're
Yeah.
gonna, you know, what I'm saying, so we can get out of here. So Joel weaves through the yards and everything. He gets there. He gets upstairs, and also he gets upstairs. And I also think Ellie might have been kind of giving him a target every once in a while to pop up so he could stay distracted, so he didn't get Joel. Because
Yeah.
it sounded like that. It sounded like that because I was like, yo, that's real convenient that that guy didn't hear Joel creaking and all that stuff. But I think that's what Ellie, because the gunshots had stopped for a minute, but they kept coming out. I said, I think that's Ellie doing that. So the guy comes in there and it's an old man. He's like, hey, bro.
Yeah, that part was a factor too.
Yeah, old man.
Because it was funny, but he was like, yeah, yo, that dude has a bad shot. I'm just gonna go around the back and kill him.
Yeah. And you go out there seeing this dude like he's in his 60s, 70s, late 60s, 70s. And he's like, hey man, bro, like don't do this. Like,
he
just
said, hey man, put
give
the
me
gun
your
down.
gun.
I'll let you
He
go.
said, yeah. And we all good. And then what happened? The guy like tries to shoot and he ends up killing him.
Slow
And then,
as hell. Like he turned around
slow.
so slow.
Boom! I'm like, come on, man. The old man won't do nothing, man. Said, oh! Man, he turned around. All right, and you know, so Joel is getting ready to tell them, hey, come on. And he hears like the walkie-talkie. And he's like, uh-oh.
Oh yeah, real quick though, like I love this scene because this for me is like going back to the actual gamification of this show, because there's a thing that happens. He goes around, he has to creep up, not get hurt, go up to even like how it's framed. It's like a
video game.
Like it's like a first person shooter. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then he what does he do? Kills a dude, sees the radio, picks up the rifle, looks out the window, and is screaming, run. And they did not hear him.
They couldn't hear him for nothing. He's like, run. And you hear like Kathleen on the line on the walkie-talkie. So apparently the guy had notified her, like, hey, I found him, I'm shooting him down. We're almost there. And he's like, oh my God, run, run. And you see like it is like a caravan of them. Like it's like they brought all the forces to get Henry. And this dude. You know what it brought me vibes of? It brought me vibes of one of my favorite movies, The Professional. Get everyone. What do you mean? Everyone! I
love that movie.
One of my favorite movies, by the way.
God. So
yeah. So they realize what's happening. They're trying to run. Poor Ellie trying to her little pea shooter. Trying to shoot at that dago of like snowplow truck. I want to be like, baby girl, just stop turning around shooting. Just go.
You just wasting bullets, man.
You wasting bullets, and you see Joel trying to snipe and shoot, and he finally got the right, you know what I'm saying, angle and everything, and he killed the main driver at the front who was plowing the cars through. The car, truck runs into a building,
to an old house or something, right?
Right, an old house, and it hits, and it just so happened to hit like a gas line and everything.
Oh yeah, and everything exploded.
Yeah, it exploded. Ellie fell down. They're trying to get up, and they get their way around, and Kathleen, her number 2, and all these other soldiers come out, and they're like, look here. Then she's like, look here, Henry. I know you're out here. Turn yourself in, Henry. Turn yourself in. And he's not saying nothing. And Henry finally he's willing to sacrifice himself. He's like, hey, y'all run. When it gets run. So he says, all right, I'm here. He says, if I come out, let the kids go. And then he was like, let the kids. She was like, I can't do that, Henry. And he was like, what? He was like, what did you expect me to do? He's a kid. And then she goes on to this whole like holier than thou. This is God's plan type. That's when you know
she hit that man with, well, what if he was supposed to die? Kids die all the time.
She said, what if he was supposed to die? That was his fate. She said that was his fate. Kids die all the time. She was on some whole like, you robbed the Grim Reaper of a death type. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you have a debt to pay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got a debt to pay. And so he comes out and he's like looking at her. And the next thing you know, you start seeing the truck. You hear like another little small explosion. And then the truck like starts to go down.
Sinks in the ground.
Into the ground. Sinkhole. and it goes into the ground. And I
wow.
saw that happen. I said, oh, this is not going to be good. And like they just standing there, like looking. And then next thing you know, good God Almighty, that scene was horrifying. How fast and how quick they ran out. It was clickers, it was roamers, and they just started spraying like, kill him, shoot him, shoot him, shoot him. At that point, I would have ran to the house. Ellie and them stupid because they just stood there or whatever because they weren't the problem anymore. It was them. So all of this happens, and Ellie daggone gets knocked down, and then Joel is trying to snipe to get clear away for Ellie to get to the house.
Yeah, which was dope. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, really dope. And then he sees what she's about to do. She's gonna squeeze into this truck. They had a little small window. She was gonna hang out in there for a second and everything, and he trying to help. And next thing you know, we saw what I know a lot of people who played the game was like they couldn't wait to see. And it is referred to as a bloater.
No. Yo, not even that, but like when she goes into the little into the van, one of them, it was like a little girl joint, yo. She
you
had
see
to
how
like,
that jank you see how that jank was pop blocking,
yo,
getting inside that jank says
she hit him with the bone crusher. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right, she did a flip. I said, yo, I was like, is that turbo or ozone up
my
in that
God, yo, she saw the crumping and clowning in that joint.
She started pumping it. I was like, yo, I said, yo, get it. Then like Ellie's trying to get out, and she do get out, but it's just pandemonium. And the thing is, you see, they just keep coming, and then you see that bloater pop out.
He popped out like he was a G.
He was like, dinner time now. Came out, and did you see the way he was just murking? He wasn't even trying to infect nobody. He broke one dude back. He ripped one dude head, like just tap the bottle, twist the cap, give it up. You know what I'm saying? Just popping heads off. And the one dude and the Kathleen's number 2 was like, run. And he like was unloading the clip on this thing. And it wouldn't go. So what I did read about the bloaters, that like they are so hard to kill in the game because that cordyceps is spread. They're like the oldest of them because the cordyceps is just spread over their whole body, and it's become like almost like a shell. And you have to like really shoot, like use like all your ammo to kill those things. And he was taking everybody out. And at that point, you saw Ellie and them. They get close and they get to the building, and Joel meets him out. Joel's get ready to meet him outside, and hit Kathleen. Like this chick here had blinders on, and she only had one thing in mind. All hell was breaking loose. All she wanted to do was kill Henry. And I'm sorry, that becomes an afterthought when all that's going on. And she's like, sorry, Henry, or whatever. And then you see Ellie look and see that little girl that was the little cordyceps clicker girl there. And she turns around, that clicker girl, and just started mauling her, and then finally bit her. They got out, they got away, and it seemed like everything was cool. They find an old abandoned motel, and and they're like, hey, and Joel even tells them like, hey, I'm going to Wyoming. I'm probably gonna be walking. Kansas City to Wyoming, that is walking. That is a long way. And so, they're walking, and he's like, y'all are welcome to come with us, man. If you want to come, they done built that trust up. Well, and then you go in the room and you see Ellie and Sam talking and reading a comic book and having like just being kids and stuff. And what did he say? He said Henry was like, yeah, man, we should go through that. And then Joe was like, he's a kid, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be okay or whatever with him. And so then Ellie asks, Ellie's like, oh, blah blah blah, what are you afraid of? And he's like, I'm not afraid of nothing. And she's like, well, I'm afraid of scorpions. And Sam looks at her like, little girl, whatever. She was like, fine. She's like, I'm afraid of being alone. And then he just looks at her. And then she writes down the thing, what are you afraid of? And he was like, becoming a monster. Becoming a monster. And she looks at him and he lifts that. He rolls up the pants leg and she sees he was bit. And she's like, you see, she's crushed when that happens. She's like,
I was like,
yeah.
Oh man.
I was like, dang, man. I said, this show is
they
they don't care about your feelings at all.
They gotta kill the kid, man.
Right. And so Ellie shows him that she's been bit. And the kid, you saw the kid face like, the hell, what are you still doing here? And she's like, look, my blood is medicine. So she cuts her hand and lets it bleed and starts rubbing her blood up against that wound, thinking that that's going to help. And she's like, it's going to be fine. My blood is medicine.
I'm like, fam, that's not how antibiotics work.
No, don't work, fam. You gotta synthesize that, Ellie.
You put it through a centrifuge, you know what I'm saying? You gotta roll it around, shake it up.
Roll it around, shake it up.
Add some stuff to it.
Yeah, add some little enzymes and proteins and stuff into it to make it work there.
A little razzle dazzle in there. Not just
raw bada bing, bada boom, how you doing type to it. So even the kid knows, like, yeah, this ain't gonna work. So he just looks at her and says, hey, can you stay up with me through the night? And she's like, yeah, no problem. Yeah, she ain't make it because she dozed off and she wakes up and sees him sitting on the edge of the bed. And at first I was like, oh snap, maybe I said highly unlikely, but I said maybe. And then when she started walking, I said that kid is done for. And she's like, and she taps him on the shoulder, hey Sam. And the thing that really I think helped her from not being attacked is Sam being deaf. So you know what I'm saying, Sam being deaf.
Because he couldn't hear it.
He couldn't hear her.
Hey man, that was good. You're really good, son.
Good, because he's just like was just staring off into the, and then he turned and she said, "Oh my God!" She fell through the door. You saw they would sleep out there, Joel and Henry, and they both pulled the gun out, and Henry shot the at him on the ground, shot at Joel like, "Yo, drop the gun," and Joel's like, "What the hell?" And Henry looks, and then he shoots Sam. And I think it's just the utter shock that he did it just like that. No hesitation or whatever. Because Sam was on top of Ellie and he was in shock. And he was like, what did I do? What did I do? Oh my God, what did I do? What did I do? And Joel's like, hey, it's okay, man. It's okay.
Give me the gun, yo.
Give me the gun.
Give me the gun. Because he was pointing at him first, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He said, hey, it's okay, bro. Just give me the gun.
Just give me the gun.
And your boy is just overcome with grief, man, and just off himself,
Yeah, took himself out, man. Just shot himself in the head. I was just like, damn, man. And then you cut to a scene where Ellie, Ellie.
Yo, like this part for me broke me even more, yo, because they had enough. Like, this part really showed the humanity of them and of the show. Like they actually went outside and buried them.
Yeah, that showed that they cared about them. And Joel was burying him. And then Ellie basically comes walking over with Joel's bag and coat, throw it down, and she had the little notepad thing that you know what I'm saying,
little etch-a-sketch joint, you know what I'm saying?
Etch-a-sketch thing that Sam would communicate with them with. And she just set it down on top of his grave and said, let's go. She said, which way is west? And just started walking. And Joel is looking at her like, well, and she's like, let's go. Like, we don't need to be here no more. We did what we had to, just go. And Joel looks and sees what she wrote, and she wrote down, I'm sorry. Because I think she really, I'm sorry. And
oh my God, Tony.
Yeah.
I was like,
I'm sorry. I said,
like,
oh my God.
I was
like, this would have happened. I said,
yo, man, it don't still make me, it don't still hurt right now, yo.
Yeah, it hurts, man. It hurts, man. It's like, think about it, man. You trying to help somebody. Ooh. You think you helping, and it doesn't work, man. And that jank got to me, man. I said, oh
yo, man, because they was trying their best to look out for them, man.
And I think that made her completely numb. I think that's what's going to make her numb. and it's kind of sad that it's going to make her that way. But man, ooh, so then you just see them walking
Yeah,
off,
man, it
and
was crazy, man.
an
Like
episode
I
ends. But listen, so far this show has not really missed on an episode at all.
nope.
Yeah, I mean, it's they making it happen. And like you said, Rashad, even with flashbacks, even that being just a couple of day flashback, they do it so well. They do it so well, man. And this show is great, man. And it's starting to pick up traction and numbers of how great this show is. I know there are people that was like, I don't know, but word of mouth is picking up. Last week's episode that was episode what 4?
Yeah,
Yeah, episode 4 last week. What I text you, Rashad, 5 million viewers
yeah.
on the night that it dropped, and then 48 hours later, 17 to 20 million viewers streamed it and watched it. Now at my job, everybody's talking about it. There's a few people that say they can't watch it because they just think that how the clickers and stuff look just kind of freaks them out. It's just a
It
little too
it it, it is
disgusting.
grotesque. I
It
can't
is
lie.
it is grotesque. But the thing is about it though, we have barely seen them at all during the show. This is a world building and people show,
Yeah,
and I
very
just
much
hope
so.
that more people click on to watch it. I'm pretty sure HBO is going to end up probably in a couple of weeks green light season 2, and it's
I
going
mean,
to
they
be
should
on.
already done it. Hey, real quick before we get
Yeah.
out of here, quick comment
Uh-huh.
for the week.
Comment
I
away.
posted the Kathleen picked the wrong problem. You know what I'm saying? Which is very true. And
Yeah.
this person, ZZ Ghost 8593 on YouTube, because YouTube, they be
Mm-hmm.
stupid. So he says, there is no context to this. I have no idea what was ignored or why your mind is blown. I said, so you don't watch The Last of Us. He replies, no, I love watching IP's corpse paraded around as Walking Dead ripoffs. So I said, oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So like that's how I didn't even want to engage with your boy
Yeah,
because
not even engaging with people.
Mr.
Exactly.
Ghost numbers and Z's like yeah, like you're missing out on a really good show. Like I can't even
Yeah,
lie,
and, and
man.
and that's perfectly fine. And listen, I was a Walking Dead fan as well. This is nothing like the Walking Dead. And yeah, so do as you please. 5 million people watched last week's episode, and another 20 million watched it, started streaming. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna be even bigger this week because of this. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's it,
We'll
people.
be
Great.
back, man. I'll probably be posting stuff tomorrow because trailers are dropping for the Super
Yeah.
Bowl. And
Are we
shoot,
gonna do an episode about trailers?
we why not? You know what I'm saying? So
There we
we'll be
go.
back Monday with a trailer
All right, y'all.
recap. And I
All
hit
right.
y'all out, yo.
That's all right then. Peace out, everybody. Enjoy the Super Bowl.
Yeah, yo.